Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Gopijana Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Jai Vishwavad Paramahamsa Sri Rajgasa Stotra Satya Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhai Saranarvind Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Nanta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Skandi Vidhi Founder Acharya Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Samavata Bhakta Vrinda Ki Hari Nam Sankirtan Ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Tagore Vimanande. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru, to Sri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Agyan Timirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Takshurandritam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swaparantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Jata Padakamanam Sri Gurun Vaishnavam Sya Sri Rupam Sarvajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadvitam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakam Vitam Sya Hare Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpati Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kancana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sukadevi Pranamani Hari Priye Vansakalpa Tarubhyasya Vipasindubhyaivacha Patitanam Pavanubhyo Vaisnavibhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Ram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamtiraya. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very means of conquest, let us first offer respectful obeisances unto Narayana, Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Nara Narayana Rishi, the Supreme Human Being, unto Mother Saraswati, the Goddess of Learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta Prayesa Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed practically with the nil, and loving devotional service becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Ramasamritam Uttama Shloka Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishi Vishvayasaya Lokasya Nanyam Swasya Namaha. This Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, King of all literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It's compiled by the incarnation of God as Sridham Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara, Vivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Surabhyaya Namaha. Om Surabhyaya Namaha. Om Surabhyaya Namaha. Mukham karoti vātalam pāṅgum langayate girim yatkripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataram yatkripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataram. In the Vaishnava calendar, it says sunrise at 6:10, but the sunrise before that. Have to find out. I don't know. Before 6:10, the sun is already up. Hmm? 5:40? Okay, that's more than. See? This is Kolkata also, no? Should not be such a big difference between Mayapur and Kolkata. Anyways, we'll try to adjust it to Mayapur if it's possible. Okay. Hare Krishna. Welcome to our Bhagavatam class. We are continuing from canto number 2, chapter 5, entitled The Cause of All Causes. And today's text number 22, right? Yeah. Kala Guna Vyati Karaha Parinamaha Swabhavataha Karmano Janma Mahataha Purusha adhistitat abhut kalad guna vyatikara parinama swabhavatah karmano janma mahata purushadhistitad abhut kalad guna vyatikara parinama swabhavatah karmano janma mahata purushadhistitad abhut kalad guna vyatikara parinama swabhavatah karmano janma mahata purushadhistitad abhut kalad guna vyatikara parinama swabhavatah karmano janma mahatah purushadhistitad abhut kalat from eternal time guna vyatikara transformation of the modes by reaction. Parinamaha, transformation. Svabhavataha, from the nature. Karmanaha, of activities. Janma, creation. Mahataha, of the Mahatattva. Purusha adhistitat, because of the Purusha incarnation of the Lord. Abhut, it took place. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Sridham Prabhupada Ki. After the incarnation of the first Purusha, Karana Navashayi Vishnu, the Mahatattva, or the principles of material creation, take place, and then time is manifested. And in course of time, the three qualities appear. Nature means the three qualitative appearances. They transform into activities. Kind of repeat after me. After the incarnation of the first Purusha, Karanar Navashayi Vishnu, the Mahatattva, or the principles of material creation, take place. And then time is manifested. And in course of time, the three qualities appear. Nature means the three qualitative appearances. They transform into activities. Report. By the omnipotency of the Supreme Lord, the whole material creation evolves by the process of transformation and reactions, one after another. And by the same omnipotency, they are wound up again after another and conserved in the body of the Supreme. Kala, or time, is the synonym of nature and is a transformed manifestation of the principles of material creation. As such, Kala may be taken as the first cause of all creation. And by transformation, and by transformation of nature, different activities of the material world become visible. These activities may be taken up as the material, as the natural instinct for each and every living being, or even of the inert objects. And after the manifestation of activities, there are varieties of products and byproducts of the same nature. Originally, these are all due to the Supreme Lord. The Vedanta Sutras and the Bhagavatam thus begin with the Absolute Truth as the beginning of all creations. Janmadhyasya yataha. Translation again. After the incarnation of the first Purusha, Karanar Navashai Vishnu, the Mahatattva, or the principles of material creation, take place, and then time is manifested. And in course of time, the three qualities appear. And nature means the three qualitative appearances. They transform into activities. So this is somewhat technical. Explaining this is the Vedic explanation of creation. It's very interesting, actually. Somebody was mentioning just yesterday, one devotee, Prabhupada disciple, was narrating his memories of how he met Prabhupada and like that. And so at one point, he was mentioning how Prabhupada was referring to the center of the body as the in English, I don't know what they call it in Sanskrit or in English, but the navel. In America, they call it the belly button. It's called the belly, and it's like a button on the belly, I guess, belly button. So the navel. So when we are born, of course, we don't remember. When we are born, we are, until we are born, we are connected with the mother through what is called the umbilical cord. At the moment of birth, that umbilical cord is cut. So up until the moment we are born, within the womb of the mother, we're nourished through this umbilical cord, and we are living in that way. So the creation also, when we look at the picture of the Brahma Samhita, we see the Lord who is lying on the Garbhodakshai Vishnu. From his navel also, that stem, isn't it? That stem is like, from the navel, it's like, you can compare it to umbilical cord. And on the top of that stem, of course, Lord Brahma is created. So, this this way of taking birth, or just like pregnancy takes place when male and female unite, isn't it? And this system of creation has been going on since time immemorial. So in a similar way, Krishna's creation, here we get a little glimpse, is how this material creation takes place. What is called the Mahatattva, within one corner, it is explained, one corner of the spiritual sky, some cloud is there that is called Mahatattva, and everything is taking place within that Mahatattva. So it begins from this first Purusha, also known as the Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu also lies on an ocean, different ocean. He lies on the Karana ocean, What is the Karana ocean? Where is the Karana ocean? What's another name for the Karana ocean? It is that ocean that separates the material world and the spiritual world. Living entities who are in the material world cannot force their way out of the material world. There's a particular process, and this is also very elaborately later on described, how there are different coverings within each universe, different layers of covering, which correspond to the layers of the material elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether, like that. So very intricate. So here it says, After the incarnation of the first Purusha, I'm just reading the translation of the text, this Mahavishnu, the Mahatattva, or principle of material, take place. And then Kala, the time factor, is manifested. And it is that time factor that is making the three qualities, means the three modes of material nature also appear. So when we speak of nature, nature means the three qualitative appearances, means the three modes of material nature. And it is, this point is being made here. These three modes of material nature afterwards transform into activities. In the purport, Prabhupada mentions these activities may be taken up as a natural instinct of each and every living being. And Prabhupada even further explains, even in the inert objects. And after the manifestation of activities, there are varieties of products and byproducts. Yes. So not much to comment on here, at least. We'll go to the next text, actually, which is 23. Mahatastu vikur vanad raja sattvo va brimhitat tama pradhanas va bhavad dravya jnana kriyatmakaha. Material activities are caused by the Mahatattvas being agitated. At first, there is transformation of the modes of goodness and passion, and later, due to the mode of ignorance, matter, its knowledge and different activities of material knowledge come into play. So Prabhupada explains a bit more here in the purport. Material creations of every description are more or less due to the development of the mode of passion, rajas. The Mahatattva is the principle of material creation, and when it is agitated by the will of the Supreme, at first the modes of passion and goodness are prominent, and afterwards the mode of passion being generated in due course by material activities of different varieties, it becomes prominent, and the living entities are thus involved more and more in ignorance. Brahma is the representation of the mode of passion. And Vishnu is the representation of the mode of goodness, while the mode of ignorance is represented by Lord Shiva, the father of material activities. Material nature is called the mother, and the initiator for materialistic life is the father, Lord Shiva. All material creation by the living entities is therefore initiated by the mode of passion. With the advancement of the duration of life in a particular millennium, the different modes act by gradual development. In the age of Kali, when the mode of passion is most prominent, material activities of different varieties in the name of advancement of human civilization take place, and the living entities become more and more involved in forgetting their real identity, the spiritual nature. By a slight cultivation of the mode of goodness, a glimpse of spiritual nature is perceived. But due to the prominence of the mode of passion, the mode of goodness becomes adulterated. Therefore, one cannot transcend the limits of the material modes, and therefore realization of the Lord, who is all transcendental to the modes of material nature, become very difficult for the living entities, even though prominently situated in the mode of goodness through cultivation of the various methods. In other words, the gross matters of adibhutam, their maintenance is adidaivam, and the initiator of material activities is called adhyatmam. In the material world, these three principles act as prominent features, namely as raw material, its irregular principles, and its use of different varieties of material creation for sense enjoyment by the bewildered entities. Yeah. Everyone is able to follow this? Again, it's somewhat technical, explaining how the motive of passion is quite prominent. Uh, uh, and it is only by, as Prabhupada explains, actually in the by near the end of the purport, I guess, uh, that by a slight cultivation of the mode of goodness, the mode of goodness, yeah, these modes of material nature are all pervading in the material world. We are constantly governed, affected by these modes of material nature, uh, and uh, without without spiritual knowledge, we cannot come out of these modes of material nature. Yeah. Uh, Spiritual knowledge gives us a clue, gives us an understanding, uh, and shows us a path or a way in which we can come out of these modes of material nature. Uh, and the reference being made here is that one needs to come to the mode of goodness. One needs to rise above the lower modes of nature and uh, come to the mode of goodness. This mode of goodness gives us some insight, a glimpse in the spiritual realm from the mode of goodness. So the whole Vedic culture, the whole Vedic system is how to come, how to gradually rise uh, how to facilitate all living entities uh, in the human form of life to rise to the mode of goodness. Of course, that is not the all in all, but as Prabhupada mentions in the purport, it is in that mode of goodness that we can begin to understand beyond what is beyond actually the mode of goodness, which means spiritual realm, the spiritual realm. Yeah. Mm. This is how Prabhupada writes it here. By a slight cultivation of the mode of goodness, um, a glimpse of spiritual nature is perceived. Mm. These, uh, yeah, these instructions, like certain sections of the Bhagavatam, we have to hear them quite a few times before they sink in, so to speak. Um, Naturally, it is a major topic because it is dealing with uh, one of the tattvas described in the Bhagavad Gita. Means material nature means prakriti, the material nature. Prakriti, and prakriti means, of course, the uh, the modes of material nature that are influencing every moment, actually, the living entities in the material world. Uh, and as we have heard many times, uh, the only way that one can overcome these modes of material nature, because they are material, uh, uh, is to uh, take uh, take shelter of the the higher realm or the spiritual realm, which uh, is like Krishna in his original transcendental form. Uh, although he comes within the material world, is not affected by the material modes of material nature. So, in a similar way, the living entity who is fortunate to cultivate knowledge, uh, transcendental knowledge, can learn how to also not be affected by these modes of material nature. Yeah. So there are more explanations will be given on the subject matter in the next few verses. Any comment on this question? Huh? Uh, Kala is a synonym in the sense that Kala is different from nature because Kala is a separate tattva than Prakriti. Prakriti is nature. Prakriti is material nature, but Prakriti cannot uh, cannot be activated without Kala. So, what does it say exactly? A synonym of nature. Yeah, it means that that at some point uh, the time factor, when it becomes activated, then nature becomes activated. Um, but uh, it, but it is there is that intimate connection naturally between Kala and nature, but they are different. They're different. In the Bhagavad Gita, the five principles, two of them are Kala and Prakriti. So they're not the same, but they are intimately connected. Uh, activities uh, take place due to the time element. Yeah. Yes, because of the time, then uh, activities take place. Yeah, well, that's all connected with karma, of course. Yeah. Okay.